All right, let's dive into this one really quick. The art of listening. Now, active listening is a method to understand your client's wishes and explicitly show that you understand their needs. You understand what it is they want and what it is they fail to accomplish themselves. In short, listen to understand. The main guiding point is to be an active listener, which is very important. Let your client speak without interrupting them, right? Just shut the fuck up. Encourage them through affirming, head nods, right type of commands and language. And then show them you heard what they said by repeating key pieces in your information and in your response. Now, active listening shows your customers that you're taking their needs seriously and are empathetic to these needs and wishes as well. This listening method might also teach you more about your client than you already thought you knew, right? While it may be hard to avoid for I know a lot of people commenting here and there when customers speaking, just remain silent but engaged, right? Active listening is crucial to comprehending and appreciating a client's potential concerns or thoughts. Hearing what someone is saying is passive. Listening is active, right? There's a big difference. Great sales reps are active listeners. They hear both what is said as well as what is not said or what's unsaid. They then use their judgment to employ skills like mirroring, leading, labeling to demonstrate. Again, topics for a different video, but labeling to demonstrate that they understand the buyer, which begins to build trust and leads to a more open conversation. Again, A players excel in this area. Whether you believe in God or not, two ears and one mouth rule for whatever reason. Again, humans were given two ears, one mouth. So why the fuck do we insist on using them in reverse, especially 90% of salespeople? Why the fuck do we talk twice as much as we listen? By this point, you've probably got an idea that listening, especially active listening, is a skill that I enforce repeatedly on all the sales team that we manage. And the same skill is transferable to building up your confidence as well. Think about it this way: who do you think holds more power in their words? The guy who's yelling at everyone in the room, speaking over everyone else? Or the guy who's frugal with his words, barely speaks, and when he does, it's in a low, almost whisper like tone? When you're someone who's always fucking talking and just can't seem to shut the fuck up, the people around you get used to that. And customers the same way. It doesn't take them days to get used to it. They'll get used to it in 5 minutes. That same energy is transferred to your prospect. Your prospects can usually feel that you're someone who just likes to hear themselves talk. But if you spoke less, with more intention and more weight behind your words, you immediately can command a lot more attention from anyone that you speak to, and in our case, prospects, right? Because they know whatever you say will hold meaning, and you're not someone who will just babble, 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 babble randomly just for the sake of it. So, a couple of key tips for application when it comes to objection handling. There's verbal cues every single prospect will give you throughout the call. Cues that should give you a hint if you're paying attention and again actively listening that the prospect has some sort of uncertainty. Listen carefully to understand the true nature of the objection. Don't just listen to respond or to move on to the next part of your $1 million script, right? Whatever, whoever give you that script. Actually try to understand the prospect response before moving along the process or moving on to your next question. Number two, speaking of questions, when it comes to asking hard questions, active listening means pay close attention to the response and adapt your pitch accordingly, right? Don't have your focus on your script or what questions to ask next. Instead, put your focus on listening to understand instead of listening to reply. And then when it comes to pitching, a lot of times salespeople and closers talk about the strongest features of their product or service. We're trying to sell the vacation, not the flight, right? Our goal is to talk about the parts our prospect feels like the strongest for them. If I'm trying to sell you a vacation to Hawaii, I'm going to talk about the beaches, the volcano, the beautiful scenery there, not the flight that's going to take me there, right? That doesn't really matter. So here's an example of restatement, how you can have the prospects understand that you understand them. So, all right, John, I think I have a clear idea of where you are, where you're trying to get to, and sort of what's keeping you from getting there. So, what I'm going to do is give you the broad brushstrokes of what it is we do. Is that cool? Cool. Our area of expertise is helping the type of prospect achieving outcome with leverage by removing problem with leverage. Now, this restatement is very important because it has to sound like it was just made for them, right? And this is especially when it comes to pitching, right? This last part, it has to feel like that the product or service that you're selling is made just for them. And that only comes if you're actively listening, right? You've got to be actively listening throughout the call and taking notes. Without that, this is not effective. Another concept you have is something called echoing, to show your prospect that you've been empathetic with them and have been actively listening to what they've been telling you. You can use echoing to repeat back what they've told you in their words, their phrases, their analogies, stuff that they can relate to. Again, you can look this up on your own. I'm not making this stuff up. Done correctly, this will be the point. The prospect will make a subconscious decision whether or not they'll be buying what you're selling. Now, very important here, you have to have balance. Just because I'm talking about always being able to listen doesn't mean you just sit there like a fucking statue and not say a word either, right? You can't do that either. There has to be a proper balance. You've got to contribute to the conversation. It's a dialogue, not a monologue. So the prospect by themselves can't be talking either. So you just have to be mindful and use a 2 ears, 1 mouth rule. Listen twice as much as you speak. And within time, you'll master the art of listening. And that's it for this one. See you on the next one. Peace.